I was 6 years old on August 28th, 1963, 60 years ago this coming Monday, when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. shared his dream on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Sitting in my living room in Denver, in front of a black and white Zenith television. Some of us remember those. I heard words that changed my life. I couldn't comprehend Dr. King's need to say such words, to fight for his people. Why did some people hate others just because they looked different? Why would anyone seek to demean and degrade, to hurt, or even kill another created in God's image just because it wasn't their image? It was beyond the understanding of a 6-year-old boy. And frankly, while today I get it here, it remains beyond my comprehension here. I would say that my journey to this moment began in that moment, 60 years ago. Dr. King's words touched something very deep in my soul. Today I would tell you that his words connected with God's presence within me. All I knew at the time was that I felt something quite profound. Once I had heard those words, I could say them. Something quite profound stirred in me. And it still does. Those words continue to stir my soul. They are really, in many ways, my personal shofar. My passion for social justice began with the civil rights movement in that moment and grew with the Vietnam War protests of my childhood and the social revolution of the 60s. At the time, as a child, I really didn't have the words to express what I was feeling, but years later, I would hear the words of Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, beautifully expressing exactly what I felt. When he said of marching with Dr. King, I felt as if my feet were praying. These words and more like them continue to inspire me every day. Words of Torah and of our prophets. From last week, tzedek, tzedek tirdof. Justice, justice you shall pursue. Or from the first reading of Isaiah we did on Shabbat, Nachamu, learn to do good, devote yourself to justice. Or the words of Amos, let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. And so many more like them, from Jeremiah and Amos and Micha and Zechariah, to name just a few, calling passionately and urgently for justice from the very heart of our tradition. I have the sacred opportunity and obligation as a rabbi to pay that gift forward, Dr. King's gift to me, that he gave to me on that August afternoon so very long ago. And I hope that in some small way, I am planting seeds for a future that will be both more just and more righteous. One in which the beautiful diversity of the divine image in which we are all made will be readily recognized and accepted. I challenge those whom I teach and to whom I preach to find in the words of the prophets, both ancient and modern, the passion, the inspiration, the courage to address the needs of a world which is so very in need of our healing, so very in need of a prophet. And I hope that from time to time I am able to share successfully a spark of the flame that was ignited in me in the age of 6. I pray I might inspire others to not sit idly by, but with passion for what is just and right, to question and advocate, to fight and struggle for the righting of the social injustices that continue to plague us. You know, every so often, I'm approached by someone who with a wrinkled brow and an air of suspicion says, "Rabbi, what exactly is social justice anyway? And where can I find it in the Torah after all?" Well, where can you find it in the Torah? Absolutely everywhere. Every turn of the scroll urges the pursuit of justice, from God's clothing of Adam and Eve to God's burial of Moses. So really, how could it not be a part of each of our Teitzei Yid? Any Yiddish speakers here? Teitzei Yid. You know, your Jewish spark. We simply can't help it, really. We drink it in with our mother's milk. It's in the air we breathe in our homes. We ingest it in the food we eat. We consume justice on Passover with the bitter horseradish of enslavement and the saltwater tears, with apple and walnut mortar. We slurp up concern for healing with chicken soup. We perform a symbolic act of tikkun olam when we find the afikomen. With every quarter we drop in a blue tzedakah box, and every tree certificate we receive from the JNF, a passion for Israel is implanted within us. It's all part of our Teitzei Yid. It's our Jewish DNA. But that being said, we still must make a choice. Throughout the book of Deuteronomy, which we have been reading over these weeks, as we will read until we reach Rosh Hashanah, we are reminded that we have a choice to make between life and blessing or curse and death. And of course, that plea will echo throughout this sanctuary during the high holidays in the days to come. But clearly, it is a choice left for each of us to make. And so the Torah asks us, what will you choose? A world of fear and anger, of mistrust and suspicion, a world where we build walls to keep others out, or a world where we build tables at which to feed the hungry and around which to clothe the poor? Will we build barriers to keep the stranger out, or a sanctuary where we welcome them in and love them as ourselves? During these days, this is the choice we are called to make. This is the journey we are asked to take. The choice our tradition would have us make is very clear. 60 years ago, to a child sitting in his living room with his dad, Dr. King shared his dream and awakened a calling in me. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they are not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. These are the words that set me on this path 60 years ago this coming Monday. These days, as I gaze upon the blessings that are my family, my wife, my beautiful children, my precious, adorable, amazing granddaughters, even when they put toys inside my guitar. Just in case you're listening. Those words are really more urgent than ever. In these tenuous, challenging, and difficult times, I pray that Dr. King's words continue to inspire us, that they strengthen us all, and encourage us in our ongoing pursuit of his prophetic and sacred dream for his children and for ours. Shabbat Shalom.